Hello, I'm Steve Shaw, National Coordinator of Football Officials and Secretary Rules Editor for the NCAA. And today we're continuing our series of training videos for the 2022 season, and we'll be focused on game action from Week 9. Now this week, the first CFP rankings came out, and that adds excitement to our season. And the committees for FCS, D2, and D3 are hard at work on setting the playoff pairings. So we're really setting up for a great stretch run in November for college football, and we have to be at our best. Now, as you look at this video today, two things I really want to challenge you on. Number one, we have got to be at our best at end of game and end of half situations. That's when our focus and concentration really needs to go to the top rung. Also, prepare in your pre-games for kick plays. Go through everything that can possibly happen to us on kick downs so we're ready to work those plays very efficiently. Now, I want to give some quick statistics on our extra periods for the season. In FBS, we've had 29 games go into overtime. We've had a 7 overtime game. This past weekend, we had a 4 overtime game with a final score of 14-12. So that's pretty surprising. FCS has had 23 games with extra periods. D2, 33 games. That's the most category of overtime games. And D3 has had 21 overtime games. So let's focus and concentrate in that area as well. So with that, let's get on into our plays. Our first play this week, the offense is going to fake the 30 and then throw a swing pass out to him behind the line. And we get a big hit by number 11 of the defense. And replay is going to come in and stop the game to take a look at potential targeting here. Now, before we look at the targeting, know that referee and whoever goes over with the referee, you are always going to be on camera. So let your body language dictate command and control. Now, I know it's a late night game and maybe it's getting a little cold, but the posture here isn't exactly what we want. Think about this while you're on camera and make sure that we present poise and an in-control attitude. Now, as we go back and take a look at the hit, it's clearly after the catch, but the receiver is not yet transitioned to a runner, can't protect himself, so we would consider that receiver defenseless. Number 11 comes in, lowers his head, leads with his head, and attacks to the receiver's head or neck area, so it is definitely targeting. And it's close to being crowned as well, but with the confirmation of 914, we can overturn and create targeting from the booth without really having to go back and deal with, is it a 913 foul? Play 2 is going to be a 3-play vignette. Now, we know by rule that a valid fair catch signal is one hand clearly above the head waving from side to side. An invalid signal is any waving signal not meeting the requirements of a valid signal. Now, we have a kickoff here, and we see the deep receiver, number 24. He gives a clear waving motion, the getaway signal, and the ball is going to bounce and stay in the field of play. Now, the ball's live, so 24 goes back, he picks it up, he tries to return it, but he's down at about the 5-yard line. But this ball would be properly spotted and the play killed where number 24 gains possession, because a fair catch signal, valid or invalid, or really any waving motion, deprives the receiving team of the opportunity to advance the ball. Now, if the ball had gone in the end zone, we know it would have just been a touchback, but on this play, the receivers should have 1st and 10 at their own 1. Now, play 2 is a good example of what is allowed by the return man. You see here, the returner just points to the ball, no waving motion, and he keeps his hands and arms below shoulder level. So if a player has no waving motion, keep their hands and arms below shoulder level, it's not a valid or invalid fair catch signal. It's no fair catch signal at all. And finally, our third play, a player is allowed to shade their eyes from the sun as long as there is no waving motion. So what we see here is allowed. The player can shade his eyes from the sun and then catch and return the kick. Play 3, we have a run up the boundary, and number 19 breaks tackles and is finally pushed out of bounds downfield beyond the line to gain. Now, number 19 is out of bounds past the 6-foot restricted area and is well into the coaching box and interacting with players also in the coaching box. Then number 19 comes back onto the field to play, and this is the type action at the boundary that we need to be alert to and work into our tee and substitution mechanics as prescribed in our CCA manual. Now, we see the offense, they're going to go up-tempo after they've made the first down. The defense is really caught substituting. They have 2 players exiting when the offense is over the ball, and the defense is going to call timeout. Now, the referee's got to go over and explain the situation to the defensive coach, but if players go into the team area or are clearly beyond the 6-foot restricted area and interact or in a wad with teammates, we are better off going with our substitution mechanics in situations like this. And wings, make sure we do a great job either through O to O or by using the tee. Do a great job of communicating with the referee. Play 4, we're late in the half at 21 seconds. The offense has no timeouts remaining. The quarterback's going to muff the snap, but he picks it up, scrambles away, and runs down the sideline and is out of bounds at the 5 with 12 seconds remaining on the clock. Now, replay is going to stop the game to take a look at the recovery by the quarterback in the backfield. And replay is looking for possession with the knee down, not just that the quarterback has a hand touching the ball, but we see that the quarterback has firm control of the ball, lifts it with the knee still down. So we overturn this to quarterback down at the spot of the recovery. And because we're under 1 minute and the correct ruling would not have stopped the game clock, we reset the clock to when the ball is declared dead by the replay overturn, which is at 21 seconds, and we will have a 10-second runoff. And since the offense has no timeouts remaining, they can't avoid this runoff. And so the clock will be then reset to 11 after the runoff, and we're going to start on the referee signal. There are clearly a lot of moving parts on this overturn, but the crew handled it very well. Since our play interpretation bulletin on the quarterback flip pass to the jet sweeper, we continue to see other things that can happen on the play. So our play 5 this week, we're going to see jet sweeper number 1. He's going to come in motion back toward the quarterback. Then as the ball is snapped, it hits the jet sweeper and the ball rolls loose. Now, the status of the ball we know is a backward pass. We know any snap is considered a backward pass until it's possessed. But the jet sweeper is going to scoop the ball up here and advance to about the 1-yard line. Now, this is legal, and we know that any player of either team can catch or recover a backward pass and advance. Now, remember, what if this play is 4th down? Well, a backward pass does not fall under the 4th down fumble rule, so there'd be no issue here on this play, even if it was 4th down. Really good job by the crew, quick reaction, and handling the play. Play 6, we're late in the half, 14 seconds remaining on the game clock, and no timeouts for either team. Now the quarterback's flushed out of the pocket, throws downfield, and the ball is caught by his receiver beyond the line to gain, just inside the 10, and he's down. Now the game clock stops at 5 seconds. The offense is hustling to the line to get set for the next play, possibly to spike the ball, and we see the umpire retrieving the ball in the side zone, but we see the referee winding the clock at this point. Now, the umpire finally gets the ball set down as the clock goes from 1 to 0 and he steps away, and the offense cannot get another snap off. Now, by rule, the clock restarts on this situation when the ball is ready, and it is ready when the official places the ball down and steps away to their position. Now, referees, we had a play similar to this in our preseason training videos from our bowl season, and we discussed this play at our referee meeting in Dallas. And I know after first downs earlier in the game, when the clock isn't critical, we wind pretty quickly on first downs to keep the game moving. But when time matters, certainly in the last 2 minutes of each half, we need to ensure that the ball is ready for play before we start the clock. Don't lose focus at the end of the half. Play 7 has a very unusual sequence. It's 4th and 1. The offense can make a first down inside the 1. And so the offense runs a play. They do make the first down, and they're going to hustle to the line in an attempt to run the next play with tempo. Now, just before the snap, we see number 95 of the defense. He's going to try to time the snap, and he launches himself at the quarterback and makes forcible contact. Now, the crew shuts the play down. There are multiple flags, and we have a dead ball personal foul on number 95. Now, as we go back and take a look at this action, we really should consider targeting as well, as there is an indicator of targeting as 95 launches, leads with the head, and attacks. There's clearly forcible contact to the head or neck area of the quarterback. And the only question we really have is the quarterback defenseless in this situation? Now, we know the rule lists examples of defenseless players, and this is not on the list, but it states that the list of defenseless players include the list, but is not limited to the list. The quarterback here cannot defend themselves and would clearly be a defenseless player in this situation. Now, this is a new look that we haven't seen, but I think a dead ball personal foul with targeting would be appropriate here. Our last play this week, we've got 3rd and 10. The quarterback's going to step up in the pocket. He decides to run, and he heads for the line to gain. Now, there's a big hit at the boundary, and the quarterback goes down hard. Now, as the quarterback starts to get back up, you can tell our line judge is evaluating the quarterback's behavior, and the quarterback stumbles a little bit, and then as he moves away from our line judge, he then falls clearly down on the ground. Now, the quarterback immediately gets back up and maybe looks like he's trying to shake it off or wanting to stay in the game. But immediately the crew stops the clock and we get an announcement from our referee.
Officials timeout for an injury.
Now, after the announcement, we see the training staff come out. They're going to check on the player. They walk him back to the sideline. They're going to continue to evaluate him at the sideline to check for concussion or signs of a concussion. And finally, we see that they take his helmet away. So this is a really good job by the crew for this early evaluating, getting the game stopped. I would say be careful about physical contact with the players in this situation, but this is really, really a good job. And one final note here, as we look at the hit, it is legal. And as we look at it from the end zone, we see that the quarterback is a runner, not defenseless, so only the crown can be in play. And it's clearly not a crown of the helmet hit here. So a legal hit, but good job by the crew. Well, that's it for our plays this week. And let's use these plays in our pregame conferences so we're mentally prepared to work the game. And as we turn to November, everything is on the line for our team. So we have to be at our absolute best so we can meet all the challenges that November has to offer. Remember, we want quality fouls, make it be there, excellent communications, use your winning words, and finally display integrity, courage, and poise in all we do. Let the tight situations reveal our true character as a crew. Stay safe and healthy, and best of luck this week.